Welcome, everyone, to the High Performing Woman Talk Show, where we celebrate the unstoppable force of high achieving women. I invite you to join me as I showcase remarkable stories, insights, and triumphs of extraordinary women who break barriers, inspire change, and redefine success. So, get ready to be inspired, motivated, and empowered. And with that, I'd like to introduce you to my guest today, Danielle Forsgren. And she's got a lot of titles: author, educator, theatrical producer, actor, chief marketing officer, and co-founder of Avacen. And I know I have forgotten a few. So welcome, Danielle.
Thank you so much, Susan. Yeah, I think I'm a cat with many lives and many things I've done in my life.
Yes, you are super high performing, really a Renaissance woman. So tell me a little bit about the person, Danielle Forsgren. Like, what is it that people don't know about you? And I know, like, in all of those titles, like, I didn't even include, podcast host, award-winning actress. Evita, and you were with Sean Connery and Highlander. I mean, like, so many cool things.
Right. Yes, that was another life. Like I said, I'm a Leo, so I think I am a cat, part cat, and I have many lives, right? And Madonna said you have to reinvent yourself every 10 years. And I think I was doing that way before she even started. Maybe she got that from me. I don't know.
Yeah, like when I look at like all those titles, I'm like, is this the same person? How could all of these people do all of these things?
It's just crazy. I come from a theater background. I'm fourth generation. I've been performing since, I think, before I was even born. My mother was an actor in England, and she took me on stage when I was 4 months old. And I think it's really interesting because what I'm doing now has my background in all my training for years and years. I speak all over the world. I educate with Avacen, and I think I just bring theater to what I do. So it's kind of like a full circle I've been noticing. And what do people not know about me? Okay, the craziest thing that people don't know about me is I like to do preserves. I like to can food.
The high-performing jam maker.
Oh, not only that, but limoncello. It's kind of therapy for me. And I like to see all the jars finished. It's kind of what I do. It's kind of weird. And the more we're into fall right now, I decorate my house for every holiday, and I like really, really decorate for Christmas. I mean, it's kind of, it's my right brain thing. And then I like to make jewelry. So that's just kind of the things that I like to do for downtime. Because
I can't believe you have any downtime, but
between 2 and 4 in the morning. Yeah, that's my downtime, right?
Yeah, right.
Like we're always going and we're always pivoting and we're always doing so many things, right? But yes. I don't think I would have it any other way, because I'm not the kind of person that likes to just hang out and say, okay, well, what am I doing tomorrow? I always know what I'm doing. I need to organize. I never used to be really organized, but now I like to organize my life, not so much my closet, but my life. You know what I mean? So I'm just kind of, I guess I'm always putting a little theater in everything I do. Let's say that.
I love that. Getting back to all of those things that you're doing,
yes.
What is your definition? My book is The High Performing Woman, and I keep asking so many people, like, what is it to be a high performing woman? And I seldom get the same answer, if ever. So what is it? What does that mean to you?
The first thing that pops in my head is always moving forward, always pivoting, always moving forward.
I love that. Always moving forward.
Yeah, no stagnation, no same old, always mix it up a little bit. Yeah, I think that's, and oh my God, I love those smileys. That makes me so happy. I'm big on emojis.
Yeah. I love emojis too. You've achieved a lot in life so far. what hasn't gone so well? What has been one of your big setbacks or challenges? And, how did you overcome it? Because, high performing women got grit, right?
Yeah, man, we do. I think because of my theater background, and when you audition, you're constantly, we always say life in the theater is one audition after another. It's kind of like a next. The no is closer to a yes. That's the way you have to kind of look at it. And you just go on to the same thing. I had a craft store called the Diva Craft Lounge, and I had to close it. And I was really sad when I had to close it because I was taking care of my mom who was on her way out with cancer. I was doing 10 shows a week at the Old Globe Theater doing How the Grinch Stole Christmas. I was running this store. And at some point, Tom, my husband, sat me down and said, Danielle, you can't keep doing this. We have to give something up. And I'm like, oh, my store. It was just the coolest, grooviest place for people to come and be creative. And I had a grand piano in it. So if people wanted to play the piano or sing while they're crafting, they could. But the interesting thing that came out of that was I did my podcast for 9 years. So I closed my store, but I still had the Diva Craft Lounge.
One door closes, another door opens.
Right? So
voila, voila.
That was kind of like for me a failure, and I don't like to fail.
It was a diversion, right?
It was a pivot. Let's call it.
Yes.
It was a pivot because I was running myself into the ground, and I will do that until someone says, that's what high performing women do, right? Until something happens that makes us kind of slow down, take a breath, and reevaluate.
Right. With that, I'd like to bring in the next question. Like, what strategies or habits, have been essential in you achieving your success in life so far? Are there any go-to habits or routines or, things that, are really your touchstone?
Well, other than doing my Avacen all the time, in fact, there's one sitting on my desk and I just was doing it. And we'll talk about that later. I just never tell myself I can't do something, and I jump in with both feet. And that's the way I've always been. I don't do one little toe at a time. I just go. And then I figure it out.
You don't do things.
Figure it out later. I just don't.
You don't do things by halves.
No, I guess I don't.
So is it either a hell yes or a no? Is that kind of?
Pretty much. It's either let's go for it, and I got to think about it. But I don't usually. And if sometimes I have to marinate on it, and then I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do it, or no. But I'm usually all in 110%. That's just the way I am.
I love that. So you just mentioned Avacen, said you had one on your desk. So tell me about this and how it's related to our episode. Right. Our episode titled "Changing the World One Hand at a Time."
Yes. So I'm a co-founder with Avacen Medical. This is an FDA Class 2 medical device that through the palm of the hand, you insert your hand in this cute little white and blue box. It goes on a dry heat pad. We open up something called the AVAs, arteriovenous anastomosis, and we help your body give your body microcirculation on an epic level. And what we do is we engage something called the parasympathetic, which is restore and help your body heal itself. So the sad news, and I think for women, it's really, really important that we have to look after ourselves, because guess what? We look after everybody and we're last, right? So when 80% of us over the age of 40 have compromised microcirculation. That's when we wake up in the morning and we have aches and pains and we're like, oh man, I don't remember working out that hard yesterday. But it's just kind of what happens is our blood gets kind of sludgy and slow, so it's not circulating enough. So this little device, if you think about it like it is acupuncture without the needles, which nobody likes needles, but I still go to acupuncture.
I love that. Acupuncture without the needles.
Right? It's a good one. Because me, I'm always trying to think of, I don't want to go into the technicality of it, but we kind of help your body move the chi. So we help it flow better. So literally by putting your hand in there, we, in a 20 to 30-minute session, we can change people's lives. We've had over 25 million treatments, not one adverse event.
25 million. Okay.
Wow. Yeah, in like 9 years.
Mm-hmm.
Because people use it multiple times, whole families use it. I have 2-year-olds using it. I have 4-year-olds using it. I have 92-year-olds using it because it's
part of my daily routine.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. And I notice when I don't get to do my Avacen. I actually have one on my desk, and I kind of woke up with a little pinch in my neck because I think I slept weird. So guess what I've been doing all day? I'm on the phone, I'm on the computer. I've had 2 other Zoom calls today. My hand's in there. Nobody can see that my hand is in there, but it is. So it's kind of, it relaxes you and it puts you in this just great mental state.
That's awesome. What is the thing that you're most proud about achieving with Avacen? Do you have any stories or?
Oh man, I have so many stories. How long do we have? I think, oh my gosh, there's so many great stories. I've seen a person with a headache for 3 years get rid of it in 10 minutes. Now that's not everybody, but when we can get the blood flowing, we open up all these capillaries. You have 100,000 of them in your body. And if it's sludgy or if it's blocked, you're going to have pain and sciatic and all sorts of things that you don't really want to live with. And I think the most important thing is seeing young children on the spectrum, even though we're not cleared for this by the FDA. I've seen them be more verbal because we are getting rid of inflammation. And
inflammation is the source of all evil, really.
Pretty much. I mean, inflammation is dis-ease, which is disease, and it causes horrible things. Think about when you go get your car changed and they show you that oil that's all dark and sludgy and has particles. That kind of happens with your blood. And by putting your hand very simply and elegantly on this dry heat pad, the vacuum chamber causes those AVAs to open. We do the dry heat, and then your body takes over and gets really, really happy because it's like your body takes a big old breath and just relaxes.
And it's so relaxing.
Right?
It's so relaxing.
It's just like you ever fall asleep doing it?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
I often do it with my brain tap. I do them both at the same time.
There you go. I love that. I mean, that's like a superpower, right? Brain tap and Avacen.
Yeah. So I am going to change tack a little bit here. I want you to tell me about Auntie Diva's School of Charm.
Yes. Okay. Well, this is like a little love letter to my mother. My mother was a very elegant British lady. I was actually born in London, raised here in California, but my mother had this charm and elegance about her. And this is kind of her and I together. We're kind of both Auntie Diva. And I used to teach voice lessons for 25 years in between doing theater because I didn't really want a 9-to-5 job. And so I would just teach voice. And a lot of my students, I would be a mentor to them. And a lot of them were young ladies. And there's a lot of confidence issues these days with our young ones. And this book is for 7 to 12-year-olds. And I actually encourage the mom to read it with their daughter. I actually had a little boy that insisted that he wanted an Auntie Diva book and he wanted to read it. So I'm like, right on, go for that. And the mother was like, yeah, sure, let's buy this book, which was so cool. I published it last year, but I have to tell you, in all honesty, I was working on this book for 10 years. Isn't that crazy? For the girl
I was going to say what prompted you to write it. And that's why I moved forward to the next question, because I thought you were kind of already starting to answer this. But is there anything else you want to add to that in terms of your motivation for writing it?
I saw a lack of confidence in young ladies. It's hard. It's hard to be out there. You've got social media, you've got people ghosting you, you've got people being mean to you. I always say I don't like bullies any age or any age or size or anything. I just don't like bullies at all. And we've all had our share of being bullied. And I'm teaching people to be kinder to each other. So my anti-diva, my diva doctrine is dare to be bold, different, and always kind. And I'm always reiterating this in my book, because it's all about
dare to be different.
dare to be bold, different, and always kind.
I love that. And so that kind of relates to some tips from the book. I mean, those have got to be like a couple of the tips, but is there anything else that, any tips that you've had from people that are reading it that really resonated with them? Are there any emerging top favorites?
Well, they just said they loved it. All demographics, that they just read it in one sitting, because, it's a little girl's chapter book, so it's not a long one. It is going to be a series, because Auntie Diva is going to travel with these girls, because I think it's really important to see the world, to see other cultures, to be accepting of that and not to judge. And they always do a project, a give back project every year. So basically, I should tell you that the premise is, it is Auntie Diva who has like a little finishing school. Excuse me, that was horrible. A finishing school for young ladies. And so they go to high school, and then they come back to Auntie Diva's little lovely home, and they learn all sorts of things: etiquette, grace, confidence, how to cook. They learn how to set a table. They learn how to speak. They learn how to walk into a room, how to sit down. And I do it without being preachy. So I do it in like a lovely little chapter and like little stories.
Oh, that's amazing. And much needed, much needed.
Right.
If you, completely changing subjects again, if you were mentoring the 20-year-old version of yourself,
yes,
what advice would you give to her? Because you've certainly achieved a lot. I mean, what would you say to her, 20-year-old Danielle?
I would say for me at 20, I was not bold. I was very sheltered. I had traveled the world performing, but I wasn't ready to go out into the real world. I was very comfortable at home. I'd say be a little bit more aggressive and bold, and have more confidence in that 20-year-old self. And what else would I say?
Well, then what would that have looked like? What do you mean by bold or aggressive?
Well, in our house, we were always taught to be extremely humble, and sometimes that doesn't work very well in the real world. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of people out there that are very, I don't know.
Especially with the British background, they have like this modesty, a big value in the British.
It was drummed into us. So in the theater, you can imagine, I would go to an audition and slay it, and that was great. But you also have the haters, and don't care about the haters, and don't care about what people think, and just keep going forward. I think that is what I would tell my 20-year-old self. It's not important what other people think. Just go out and do what you need to do and be happy.
I love that. Great advice. Great advice really at any age, to be honest.
Right? Yeah.
So what is next for Danielle Forsgren?
I'm working on digital marketing right now. I'm taking a class on digital marketing, because I go on Facebook and Instagram, and I just started TikTok, which my sister's like, what?
TikTok?
Right? I said I was never going to do it, but
you were so cool.
Things.
You were so with it.
I'm learning things. I'm learning how to put music and videos together. And so I'm kind of doing this little digital marketing thing that I'm loving. So, and I'm marinating on my next Auntie Diva book, and I already know what it is, but I have to just have the time to sit down and do it.
Fantastic. Well, I think some people are going to want to, find this book. So these are the right contact details, right? Find out more about the book,
absolutely,
more about Avacen, or anybody can reach out to me as well. I have those details.
Yes.
So anything else that you want to add before we wrap up here?
Wow, this has just been so cool, Susan. Thank you. Thanks for asking great questions. It's been a joy, actually. And I'm like, oh, it's over already. How sad. So I just think I want to encourage anyone out there, especially women, don't be afraid of stepping forward and moving forward. And if a door closes, it's okay, because the window opens, and it opens every time. And just go out and smile at someone and tell them they look great, because that might be the only thing that is said to them all day.
Oh, yes, exactly. I love it. There was a tip that I often use, and I tell my children to rain. And then I said, they're like, rain on somebody, like a random act of intentional niceness.
I love that.
Especially a British. You like it because you have a British background, and they've got lots of rain, right?
Yeah, they do. They have a lot of rain.
There you go, rain. Well, on that note, thank you so much for joining me today, and I'm super inspired by you, and looking forward to all of your upcoming accomplishments. Thank you, Danielle.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Bye.